My name is Kat Thornton, and I am one of the co-founders of ScienceStories.io. Kenneth, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I am Kenneth Seals-Nutt. Like Kat, I'm also a co-founder of ScienceStories.io, and I'm the software engineer on the project.
So our presentation today is called Multimedia Biographies for Diverse Scientists with ScienceStories.io. Kenneth and I began collaborating on a Wikidata-powered app for Yale University Library in 2017 as part of our work. And then that project went really well for us, but we decided that we wanted to apply our Wikidata skills to something that we were even more interested in. And together we decided on the topic of how can we celebrate the stories of scientists coming from underrepresented backgrounds, and how can we use projects of the Wikimedia Foundation to do this. We were really inspired by the words of Dr. Jocelyn Elders. You can't be what you can't see. And we wanted to create biographies of scientists from underrepresented backgrounds that would be rich in multimedia assets. And we were specifically thinking of younger people who might want to explore these biographies in a visual way, and might want to see a lot of pictures and videos and interactive elements in the stories. So we actually started working on ScienceStories.io in 2018. And I'm just going to say a few words about my connection to this project, and then I will also turn it over to Kenneth so he can share his connection. When I was a graduate student, one of my fellow classmates shared with me the fact that she was in the first class of undergraduate women admitted to Yale University. And when I found that out, I was just really surprised because I wasn't aware of the history that Yale did not offer co-education until 1969. And the fact that a friend of mine was in that first class really brought that history to life for me. And while Kenneth and I were on campus at Yale, there was preparation underway to mark the 150th anniversary of women at Yale. And the 50 stood for the 50th anniversary since co-education at the undergraduate level, and 150 for the first time that women could be graduate students at the university. And so this is a timeline of a small snippet of a larger timeline of when some universities in the US offered co-education for the first time. And then I'm going to pause here and turn the floor over to Kenneth if you want to share anything about your motivation for participating in the project.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, in addition to this campaign, which was an awesome opportunity for me to kind of explore the tools around the campus and find creative ways to celebrate the life and works of a lot of these women that went on to do amazing contributions to academia, to their various industries, and research altogether. Personally, there was also another push because while I was in undergraduate studies as a computer science student, a lot of the names in textbooks didn't really have a face to them. And there was people devoted their entire year, or some of the most important years of their life to the research that gave us things such as COBOL and the early programming languages. And for me not to know what these people looked like, really deeper into their research, didn't have access to seeing some of the papers that they've published and some of the citations that came from those publications. Kat and I both thought, there would be an amazing impact for people that don't come from research and academia to be able to really interact with this material, even before they reach college, even at earlier ages, where this could be used in a classroom, for younger students to be able to see inspiring stories of some of the challenges and triumphs of scientists throughout the world. So yeah, that's been a personal connection for me on this project. Through working with Kat on this, I've learned a ton about some fascinating people while enjoying to work on building out the infrastructure and supporting ways that we're really enhancing Wikidata with projects and highlighting other projects that are populating Wikidata with very important information. So yeah.
Thank you. So one of the ways that we have thought about this project is that we're undertaking the work of unforgetting the stories of diverse scientists. And an example of this is we came across this photograph in the Manuscripts and Archives collection at Yale University Library. And the metadata for the photograph listed the names of each of the people in the photo. And through doing research about their lives and tracking down name changes and career info, we were able to add information to Wikidata about both of these people. And now they both have stories in Science Stories. So this project really emphasizes adding data to Wikidata and then presenting it in engaging ways that we're always trying to think of more ways to showcase the data that's in Wikidata. And as more and more people add rich data to Wikidata, it pushes us to expand our visualizations and think of new ways to share and showcase even more of the data. And we are doing a lot of this work in Wikidata. And we took the inspiration for the idea of unforgetting these scientists from the work of Banu Subramaniam, who said, "Unforgetting is the act of purposively engaging with and drawing attention to aspects of history that those with privilege would benefit from forgetting." And so as we work on Science Stories, we're always thinking about the historical forces that were in play that led to many scientists from underrepresented backgrounds not being celebrated as often as other scientists, not winning as many awards, maybe not receiving as much media attention and coverage, maybe no one writing an obituary when they pass. And so information can just be harder to piece together and track down about their life. But the wonderful aspect of Wikimedia projects is that every time somebody finds a piece of information about these people, they can add it to Wikidata or one of the Wikipedias or to Commons if it's media. And over time, this information really grows and grows, and we can learn a lot, all working together to enhance this data and curate it and improve it over time. Okay, so here I'm going to stop sharing this slide deck, and then I'm going to share a different. Okay, so I was thinking that maybe I'll talk through one story, and then Kenneth, if there are things that I miss or things that you want to add and enhance, I'll make sure to stop talking so that you can pick up and add more.
Sounds great.
So this is the science story for Patricia Bath. And what we wanted to show with this story is that you can embed a YouTube video. So this is a YouTube video that Time magazine put together about the life of Patricia Bath. And then you can also embed PDFs from the web into stories. And so this is a really interesting testimony that Patricia Bath gave before the Judiciary Committee in a session devoted to innovators and scientists who were underrepresented and whose stories still needed to be told. And so you can actually look at a transcript of this testimony, and it's a really nice aspect of this story.
And yeah, one thing that's really awesome about these first two sections, the YouTube, what we call each one of these transitions a moment in our application. And so the YouTube moment and the PDF moment are great examples of where we can really complement Wikidata, where some of this data wouldn't be a natural fit for biographical information stored in Wikidata, but we can display it right next to all of the statements and visualizations. So our curators can go in and tag and use their Wikidata references and everything like that, along with external sources. So yep.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. This moment is a Wikimedia Gallery moment. And so what you're seeing here is a IIIF viewer that is showcasing images from Commons. And I just expanded out the metadata panel here. And so all of the metadata that was in Commons to describe this image, you can see over here in the viewer's metadata panel. So as with all IIIF, there's zoom and pan, and so basically any IIIF image that you find that is relevant to a story, you can easily drop the manifest URL into the structure of the story and add that content directly to your story. And we also show all of the statements from Wikidata. And we also show the Wikipedia article so that people can read the article in the context of the other moments in the story. And then the Learn More moment is a way to collect all of the external identifiers and all of the sources used in references that are on any of the statements that are relevant to the story. So you can go to this Learn More moment as a jumping off point to explore other resources on the web. In this second one here, I think I wanted to maybe show that there is a map moment. Kenneth, is there anything you'd like to describe about the map moment?
Yeah, so for generating all of our map content, we combined several Sparkle queries. So at a high level, one of the queries is every statement that's written about the subject of a story that has a geographical location, or that item has a reference to a geographical location or a coordinate. We also do another query that is everything that mentions the subject. So think of it as the inverse relationship. So that allows us to pull in things such as if there was an area that's named after a subject, or if there's a famous residential area that this person lived, we're able to pull in the metadata of that location, as well as the data for what the curator of the story would describe as well. So yeah, this is a great example of where we can kind of use this to really walk through someone's life in terms of like where they worked, where they lived, some of the discoveries that they made, where those took place, even some of the contributions that they've published. A lot of the times it'll show like where people are accessing this information from. So yeah, this is one we use OpenStreetMaps on the UI for as well. So it's a very similar API that the Wikidata query service also uses for powering their visualizations as well.
Thank you. This is the story for Dr. Sophie Redmond, and we wanted to highlight here some of the ways that we find out about people to include in science stories. Our colleague, Andra Wagmeister, was talking about a project that he learned about where a filmmaker was making a film about the life of Sophie Redmond. And so we were inspired to try to create a science story for her. And we found this awesome lino portrait that an artist made honoring Sophie Redmond's life. And then really interestingly, there is a street in Suriname named after her. And, you know, that makes sense because she lived and worked in Suriname. But there's also a square, or a street, sorry, in Amsterdam named after her because, of course, Suriname was in a colonial relationship with the Netherlands. And so Sophie Redmond is meaningful to people in the Netherlands as well. This is the story for Pearl Sonota. And this is a story that we created relatively recently. And if you look in the timeline here, Pearl Sonota was born in 1918. And then in 1942, her family was actually held in detention at the Poston War Relocation Center during World War II. And so we wanted to highlight some of the conversations that we had when we were crafting this story, that place of detention is a sensitive property, and it can be used in different ways. And so doing some exploratory Sparkle querying to see all of the different ways that this property is being used really helps us inform where we're going to include it and how we're going to surface this data in the story. Kenneth, anything you wanted to add there? Yeah,
no, this is one of those times where when we were first building science stories, a lot of the queries were derived and were crafted in ways where it could essentially pull in as much data as we possibly could. And over time, we're understanding how the property space is growing, and where there's considerations that we didn't think to account for when we were originally writing the queries. Since then, new properties have been created. So it's been a really awesome opportunity to go back through, reread some of the stories that are generating new results, and understanding, like Kat was saying, the impacts of the new properties being added. And you know, one thing that is powerful is we can fine tune the way that we articulate the timeline here in ways that maybe the language can be explained a little bit better than a pure property value, where sometimes it can feel a little too black and white for really giving a narrative. And we also find that the other moments around it give a great opportunity to really tell, keep using the word story, but for lack of a better term, really tell the full, or show the full picture of the context for some of the dates. Yeah, we try to combine as much visual information as we can and really extract the most out of every statement in Wikidata.
And then the last story that we wanted to show here is Lucy Cranwell's story. And so Lucy Cranwell collected a lot of specimens for botanical gardens and herbaria. And Lucy Cranwell's story we were working on intensively with the help of user Ambrosia 10 during the recent bicycle hackathon. And Ambrosia 10 gave us the suggestion that during the bicycle hackathon, she had added a lot of co-collector statements to different collectors' items in Wikidata. And she asked if we could make a change so that co-collector relationships would be shown in this related people moment. Kenneth, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience developing this new feature?
Yeah, this was a really fun one. It requires you to go very deep into the data hierarchy. So this is combining qualifiers of like two different statements. So if you were looking at a Wikidata item and of a work, or a specimen in this example, if two people have the property collector and then have the qualifiers that showing that they're have a relation, we're able to really craft special queries around that to pull in that data. And sometimes it feels like just to show this one line in the UI, but it also gives the full picture of some of the people that interacted with each other for these projects. And we're working on the ability to be able to use this people moment as a way to link to other stories and kind of using this as a navigation tool as well. So it's really laying the foundation of, having, you might come into science stories to see one story, but really using it as a way to like learn about the full spectrum of humans around this similar type of work. So yeah, this has been a really fun project for enhancing our like ways to extract more data.
And then one of my favorite parts of science stories is the browse page, where there's a browse tab at the top of sciencestories.io. And some days, if I'm maybe feeling a little discouraged or just want some inspiration, I really love to go to this browse page and just scroll. And seeing all of these pictures of people from underrepresented backgrounds who had careers in STEM fields and were amazing scientists really gives me a lot of hope and helps me focus on the positive. And it's really inspirational to learn about these people and see what their lives were like as they were trying to engage with scientific work during their lives. And I think it's pretty much time to go here, but the last thing I wanted to say was a big thank you to Kenneth for the parts of this that make working on science stories really fun for me are the ways that Kenneth and I practice communicating across difference and holding space for one another in our own pursuit of expanding our technological skills and learning toward one another and sharing our skills and our expertise. A big thank you to Kenneth for the whole journey of science stories and all of the years that have gone into making this project happen.
Likewise, I truly could not have done this project without Kat as well. I mean, thinking about before we started the project, Kat was my entrance into Wikidata. It really started from a conversation around that 5150 campaign and understanding that there's a story that can be told. And I had no exposure to Wikidata at the time. And it was when we were kind of mapping out this project where it really started to click, and I really wanted to make this project be something that will get more people excited about linked data, get more people excited about knowledge graphs, and really enhance the way they view information on the web. And I feel like our project is a way to show linked data in action and really give a visual tool for that can often be used as a way to explain some of the, like I said, like the black and white text in more creative ways to diverse audiences. So yeah, big thank you to Kat for the brainchild of this project, and I'm so happy to see where we've taken it so far.
Thank you all for coming and for joining us in this session.